everybody, Pastor Jose here, along with my wife, Rachel Avalos. And this week's community conversation, we have our invited guest, Melissa Alvarado. And she'll be joining us to talk about child safety, especially when it comes to online environments, apps, social media, and even maybe some online games. So thank you, Melissa, for being with us.
Thank you for inviting Jose and Rachel.
Awesome. So you have your kids, and they're in different ages, right, and
hmm
stages of their life right now. So really, the topic is to help parents kind of guide their children on how to be safe online. So could you throw some tips at us? What have you done?
Um, well, I have three teenagers. I have a 16-year-old, a 15-year-old, and a 13-year-old, and each one with very different personalities. Each one has an iPhone. And what has helped us monitor our kids is if you notice everyone that has an iPhone, um, under settings, they have a title called screen time. So if you go under screen time, you can use that to limit the screen time of everybody under your Apple ID. And so that's what we do with our kids. We give them 2 hours a day for internet usage. And then
Awesome.
when they want to use a certain app, um, then they have to request more time, and we either deny it or accept it, depending, the time of the day. Um, we also put our internet on a timer. So at midnight, our internet turns off, our TVs turn off. So if
Wow.
they're not done with their homework by midnight, well, sorry, guys, you're gonna have to get up early in the morning and do it. So, but yeah, because I'm tired. At 10 o'clock, I want to go to bed, and I don't want my kids to be watching TV at 4 in the morning because they're not going to be up. They're not going to be alert for school. So that's why we put the timer on our TVs as well.
Well, that's awesome because I think right now, especially with the pandemic, stay-at-home orders, and families having to do everything, from home, school, and especially kids. Some families may find themselves in that situation where they don't know if their kids are, staying up late on their phones or on a TV like yours. So those are some great tips. I didn't know that. I will, especially because Rachel and I, we have a 18-month-old and a 5-year-old. We're not there yet, right? We kind of control some things, and we can take away the tablet. He can't, our son Elias can't reach it wherever we hide it. But that's really awesome to know. So there's actually on the iPhone, you're able to use parental control features.
Yes, yes, and it comes in really handy, but there also comes a point where you don't want to be a helicopter parent,
Mm.
patrolling your children and all over them, not allowing them to be who they are as well. So we try to monitor our kids and what they're exposed to a certain extent. I mean, what's going to happen is going to happen, but the best that we can without um, suffocating who they are as individuals. We try to do our best. But we want to engage our children as well in conversation every day. How was your day? And it's not easy being online every day, so it's stressful, especially when you're cooped up together all day, working and going to school. So it's difficult for them too. But yeah, we want them to express who they are and be
Do they,
comfortable.
oh, sorry,
No,
do
no.
they use the internet more aside from school? Do they use it more now during the pandemic, or are they just tired of screens and they just go read a book even or go play video
Uh,
games instead or
um, You would think so, right? You would think that I'm tired of being online. I'm done. But I think what it is that when you're online all day in a class, through Zoom or Google Meets, you're working your cognitive abilities, and you're trying to understand concepts and lesson plans from your teacher, and then you got to do homework. So it's frustrating. And so the way my kids tend to relax is through playing their video games and getting online and just having fun online surfing. They like watching those videos, those funny videos where people make pranks a lot. I'm like, that's so not funny, but they think it's funny, so I got it. Okay, go ahead, laugh. But yeah, that's how they unwind, and they should. They deserve it. They deserve to unwind and just do something that they enjoy doing without me having to be over them like a, like a bear.
Yeah.
But, but with proper limitations, with proper boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
So we should have started off with this, but Melissa, I feel like parents will connect with you because you and your husband, you guys understand the other side of what the kids are dealing with, right? And so maybe you want to share with a little bit of your background and what your field.
My husband, well, Chris is a teacher. He's a high school teacher in Calexico. He teaches chemistry and physics. And I work with the special ed program here in El Centro as a paraprofessional instructional assistant. And I work with middle school.
Mm-hmm.
So it does, we work with teenagers and then we come home to teenagers. So yeah, woo, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, definitely, right? Like we said, kids are online, especially a lot more during this time, obviously because of the school situation, and they study from home. But like Rachel brought up, they study at home, and you think, yeah, they would get off the devices and maybe go out and ride the bike or something, go out and see natures. But no, they go back to the online devices. And you're right. There's some fun places to go to decompress, maybe to just have fun. But then we also want to just talk about maybe some of the apps that we probably should be aware of, especially right now. Like I'm pretty sure you know of some, but I have a list here, and I want to see. You've heard of Instagram, right?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Instagram is a great app. It's really popular. It's a photo sharing app. It's a fun place also for teens to find friends and hang out and share what they did during the week, or maybe just have memories of them with their friends, family. But also it does have its cons where it's not really monitored so well that kids can be safe all the time. Obviously, if they go via a different search engine or
Right.
they find something inappropriate, you might not know until it's too late.
Yeah.
So let me ask you about another app. You've heard of TikTok, right?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So TikTok's been on the news. Even I think the president even mentioned it at one point. And TikTok, in its purpose, as I have here in my notes, it says TikTok is an app for creating and sharing short videos. Users can create short music videos, 3 to 15 seconds long, and short looping videos from 3 to 60 seconds long. It encourages users to express themselves creatively through video and special effects that can be added to the videos. Now, there's nothing wrong about that, right? But here are some concerns that parents found. The minimum age, I think, is 13 to create an account, and there isn't a real way to validate the age. So anyone can download the app, even under 13, if they're tech savvy, as most kids are. Also, parents express concerns that there is a lot of inappropriate language in some videos. It's not appropriate for young children. And lastly, by default, all accounts are set up to be public, so strangers can contact your children. In your kids are a little older, probably they know about TikTok and other apps. But have you ever encountered anything maybe that you didn't catch right away concerning apps? Maybe something with the kids. You don't have to, expose them, but call them out. Yeah.
No.
But
I think that when it comes to the autonomy of my kids, I teach them between right and wrong, and the ultimate thing that I can do is give them those guidelines, give them those boundaries. I mean, unless I want to take their phone from them, let me see, what do you want? And let me see, what do you want? And I can't do that. I have to trust what I've taught them. Now, are they going to make mistakes? Are they going to come across videos with inappropriate language, inappropriate behaviors? Definitely. So that's where the Holy Spirit comes in. That's where the Lord comes in, and the Holy Spirit is going to be the one to guide them away from that nonsense, and of course, if I catch them, you lose your phone for a week, give it to me. But other than that, you just have to trust what you do with your kids and trust your children. And yeah, they're not 100%, perfect, but that's okay. They learn and grow from their mistakes.
Did you ever have to have this conversation with them? There's no take backs online. like watch what you
Yes.
post, don't put your address, don't
Yes.
put your age, none of this stuff.
Yes.
Did you have to actually have that conversation with them, or
Yes, definitely. So, cyberbullying is a major
mm,
thing right now, and
yeah.
if we aren't careful, and monitor that, our children become victims of it. So definitely, I've talked to my kids about being wise with who they are as people,
Hmm.
being people with integrity and character, and in what they watch, and not only what they watch, but what they post. Now, I have two very introverted kids that they're not really into social media per se. They do like to watch certain videos, but they don't post anything. They're very private. But my middle one, as you well know, is very outgoing, very
Huh.
friendly, and he's the one that I'm mostly okay. What did you post?
Yeah.
I'm going to
Mm,
trust you, Mom. I would never. Okay, then I trust you. I have to trust
Hmm.
you.
I love Matthew. Matthew's a good kid. So,
Yes.
but it sounds like you and Chris have a great system set up. That's amazing to hear about the parental controls you have in place for the kids, and even at their age, right? You said the oldest is about to be 17. He's 16
Well,
right
he's
now.
16 and a half. Yeah, he's
Oh,
16
okay.
and a half. Yeah.
All right. So, and even for us, like, I'm enjoying, just the little toddler years. I don't even know if I can call him that now because he's already
Yeah.
5. But, and then Leo, he's a little baby. But they, right now, like, technology is fun for us in our house because the cool thing in the mornings is watching my sons. We put on the VBS songs. We put on any music from our kids' church lessons, and they love having that dance time, that fun activity time. My son goes to the iPad and he wants to use an app that we have here at the church that we try to promote. It's Right Now Media, and they're able to watch Christian kids shows that are necessarily guided for them depending on their ages. You can find
Mhm.
different materials on there. So his favorite superhero right now, aside from the more noticeable ones out there, Spider-Man and Iron Man and Captain America, but he enjoys Bible Man. And
Yeah.
I didn't know much about Bible Man, and I'm like learning with him. I'm like, whoa, this is awesome. This is cool. But for us younger families, it's awesome to hear what kind of measures you've taken in your household. Obviously, we're not there yet, where certain apps might be an issue for them. But at least right now in the stage of life that they're in, you're seeing what's coming down and what could be a hazard to them. So maybe any questions, Rachel? Do you think you have another?
no, I just for maybe younger families, like what we do
Mm-hmm.
is when our 5-year-old watches YouTube,
Oh, yeah.
or I try to be around when he watches YouTube because it's so easy to just go to videos that have nothing to do with
Yeah.
what he started off with. And then I like that you can, on the iPad or the phone, you can just click your button 3 times, the side button, and then there's the lock. Like, they cannot exit the app, go to some other app unless you want them to. So there's a passcode you can type in.
That's
That's like
true.
one thing that we do because, yeah, we don't have older kids yet. So,
Mhm.
yeah, but
Those are the
Yeah.
best years.
Yeah, we're enjoying them, and I think if anything, parents should know out there that there are different resources out there, especially in the faith-based community. There's a lot of awesome websites. There's Focus on the Family has a great website where they will check movies, even video games, and give you kind of a rating on what they think as far as Christian children interacting with those games or websites. There's also Crosswalk, which is a great resource for parents, crosswalk.com. And even our Sunday school curriculum, Orange, has a parent, it's called parentq.com, and it's a website where parents can stay up to date with kids' Sunday school lessons. And so there's a lot of pros there, right? There's a lot of awesome things, but parents have to be, above all, one thing that we all have to learn is to be intentional about the things that we do with our kids.
yeah.
So Melissa, again, kudos to you because of what you've done with your children, and especially for families here in our church, they can also take some tips and figure out some things now concerning their own kids. But there are other apps that it's hard because the moment we feel like we understand what to be careful with out there, especially for kids on mobile devices, or on a website or some other social media needs, it seems like another app comes out. And we have to be up to date with what's out there and how we can protect the kids, right? So I think another one that comes to mind are video games, right? Rachel, you had mentioned Roblox.
Yeah, that there's some Roblox is like a online world where you can just be any character you want, but there are predators that, of course, they get into everything that kids like, and yeah, they made their way in there too. So just I think it's important, like you said, Melissa, to talk to your kids about this stuff and what they had seen that day or what they're thinking about, you know. So yeah.
When it comes to video games, Melissa, have you encountered anything where maybe your kids play a video game and they could be playing with their best friend, a friend that you know from school, or a friend, a family friend, but then in that game they could instantly be connected with two older men who don't know them at all, but because of the game it brings them together?
Yeah, when they were younger, especially the boys, when they were younger and they wanted to engage in those kinds of games, I was a little bit more strict, and I set more boundaries with them because of that. Because I know online there's a lot of predators out there, and if a parent or a guardian isn't careful, a child can get online, start playing the video game, and inadvertently give their name, give their address, give where they live to a complete stranger, because that complete stranger has already laid a foundation of trust. And so, that's how information gets out. And so I I didn't allow my kids, and I know they're going to get mad that I mentioned it, but I didn't allow them to really start in online gaming until they hit, I want to say 13 or 14, if not 15, because I
Yeah.
was afraid of that. But I did, all I can do is tell them, listen, this is, you need to be careful who you're talking to. You need to be careful. I don't care if the other person sounds like a 12-year-old boy. There's adults out there that can use that to gain your trust. And all of a sudden you're giving out your social security number. So,
Yeah.
um,
Wow.
so I hope they're careful. We don't, they're not allowed a TV in their room, so that we have a game room set up downstairs, and it's really set up really nice. And there's a sofa and a chair, an armchair in there, a TV on the wall, and they play their games in this room so that it's downstairs and it's accessible and open to the whole family. So I know what's going on. But like I said, at the same time, I want to give them their identity, their autonomy, their individuality without
Yeah.
being, just
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah. No, no,
Yeah.
no. And rightly so. I think those are some great guidelines to have. Maybe an age where you feel like you're comfortable, you can trust your child with certain games. Obviously, a lot of games do have ratings, and you can read up and research what games might be appropriate, what games might not be inappropriate. But the danger, again, going back to, you never know who they might be talking to on a video game, or like you mentioned, predators. That's one thing that throughout all these subjects, whether it's an app, whether it's a video game or social media, there's a danger that if we're not careful, a child could get connected through some way, easily deceived, and start talking to someone that they shouldn't be talking to. So I do like that. That's a great tip. I mean, making an awesome game room where it's public, right? They're never alone with any device or a TV in their room. I mean, I know parents are different. They can trust their children. They have to walk down that line. But when you encounter a situation, then you know how to correct your child, talk to them, and lead them back to the Lord.
Yes,
So
yes.
awesome. So the next point that we wanted to talk about was, even, I think some social media sites are trying to figure out ways to bring in kids and make profiles for them. And my wife and I, we've seen that with Facebook. And obviously, we want our my in-laws to have a relationship with their grandson, and Facebook is kind of a fun way for him to talk to them too. But there was a moment where we were looking at, right, Facebook maybe being a place where he had a profile and being able to talk to those trusted family members. But I think now, even looking at that, there's still danger.
You mean the messenger for
Yeah,
kids?
messenger for kids that's provided through Facebook.
Yeah. It goes through the parent's account,
Yes. Yeah.
and you monitor all the people that they can talk to. Like you set it up and you request, and then the other parent says yes or no or whatever. But yeah, I mean,
So there's multiple parties to make sure that there's a
Yeah.
safe environment for them to talk to.
I think they try.
Yeah.
They try.
So, but either way, sometimes without meaning for someone not to get into contact with their child that's not supposed to be there, but
The data is out there.
yeah, the
Like
data.
your kid's picture is out there, or their name or their age is already on the internet. So, yeah.
Like it might sound like a good idea, but then you're right. How much information do you want to have floating around out there?
Yeah.
So they're just waiting as a social media website. They're just waiting to one day have those next generation or
yeah.
customers onto their social media platform. And so do you really want to make that decision? So
Do
that's
they really need that? you know?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've had to even have that discussion and figure out,
Yeah.
maybe there's better ways. So
I have one website that I
Yes.
want to recommend. It's I found this. It's called InternetSafety101.org. They have statistics on all sorts of things concerning digital safety and social media, gaming, movies, bullying, everything. And they have tutorials also on how to set up phones, how to set up a PlayStation or different things like that to make sure your kids are safe and you don't have to worry about them as much as maybe before you knew all these things. So yeah, I found that very helpful in all kinds of different ways. So
awesome. So hopefully below, families that are interested in connecting with some of the resources that we mentioned, there'll be a link and even maybe some resources there that you can follow up with. We have Right Now Media is one of the biggest ones that I really want to promote today. Melissa, have you had a chance to check out Right Now Media?
No, I haven't. I haven't heard of it.
It's a really it's like a Christian Netflix. That's like my best way of describing it, because you can find teachings and sermons, and even if you were just looking into, like I mentioned earlier, kids shows for kids, all under this Christian atmosphere. There's plenty of stuff for
youth Bible studies,
marriages, anything you can think of.
Family devotions,
Yeah,
all sorts of
they
things.
have all sorts of awesome content, and hopefully below, if parents are watching this right now and you want to sign up, it's a great place to start with your child. There's always great resources, so I really want to just mention that one.
Yeah, for younger kids, for teens, for everybody really.
So, but one thing I do want to ask Melissa, what are some, maybe have you, besides what we talked about right now, do you have anything that you want to toss our way? Any resources that you've seen or that have just helped you as you raise your boys and your little girl? Yeah.
Basically just what we already talked about. All you can do is, they're going to know technology-wise, you're going to know more than most parents, unless that parent is, tech wizard. So, no, they're going to know how to get around certain things. So you're going to have to figure out how to deal with that, how to monitor that, how to engage your kids in conversation without stifling what they really want to say. And it's difficult. It's a tricky tightrope, but it can be done. And they're, you know what? You're not going to be most popular mom every day or most popular dad every day. Sometimes you're going to put rules and regulations that your kids are not going to like, and they're going to kick and scream and be upset. But with respect to them, with the calm spirit, and that comes, Rachel, you know me. It takes a lot, but to respect who they are as well, and sitting them down and bringing them to the table and saying, listen, this is why we're doing it. It's not to limit you, and it's not to hinder you as a person. It's to help you, because one day you're going to walk out of my house, and what kind of house are you going to create? What do you want to be? What kind of person do you want to be? And so, just like what we talked about earlier, to monitor your kids with wisdom, but not so much so that wisdom overwhelms who they are, because you can
Yeah.
also, and what's the word I'm looking for? Entice them to anger, compel them to be
Mm.
frustrated with you.
Yep.
And so you get, it's a tricky thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pray, pray, pray.
Yes.
Always
Yeah.
seeking the Lord's wisdom in those decisions.
Yeah.
You know, one person in the scripture, as we look for people to relate to your children, I think someone like Joseph relates to, kids at a young age, understanding what their walk with the Lord starts off to look like. Or even Daniel. Daniel's a great place when you see his life start off in chapter 1. He's a younger man, and I love using that with our Sunday school kids. I love teaching them, like, look at this guy. Like, he really understood God's word, and so much that he walked with integrity in every decision. We don't get much information on what happened to his family. We know that Babylon captures Daniel during this time and his friends, and they're really just left with the teachings that they've heard and following God's instructions. And no matter what they face, they carry that same integrity, they carry their faith, and it gets them through every circumstance and every trial that they faced. And it's one that I love to go back to. But that's kind of like what you're saying. We really want to instill in our children to have that integrity, to be bold for the Lord, to know that what the right decision is. And obviously they're going to make mistakes. They might, have some hiccups here and there, but teaching them that it's okay, especially right now as children, that they can have those little failures, but reminding them that we're trying to grow them up in the word of the Lord to make the right decisions, for when they become adults, when they are productive parts of this world. So, yeah, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us. Now, I think, Rachel, is there anything else we want to throw at Melissa?
No, I think
Yeah.
I'm glad, that
Yeah.
we learned from her today. And I did find some apps for kids, preschoolers, elementary, and for the youth,
Mm-hmm.
but we can put them in the comments as well. And just, I don't know if anybody's going to remember all the names. So,
Yes, we threw out a lot of information
yeah.
right now, so we'll definitely type that up and have it in the comments, or I mean the details below. Well, Melissa, God bless, and thank you for your time. Thank you for just being a part of the church and helping other families, young families like us. Everything you said, even we're going to take in and consider
Yes.
with our children. The blessing with being in ministry is that we do have access to a lot of resources, and it's an awesome place to be. But definitely there are still things that we're going to learn as we go, and by the time Elias is 15, there might be so many more apps. Maybe it's a virtual world by that time. I don't know. So I'll have to take off those goggles off his eyes or something. But all right. But thank you so much.
Thank you for
Yes.
And
inviting me.
and everyone that's watching right now, we just want to thank you. And we're going to continue the conversation next week with Deputy Lopez of the Imperial County Sheriff's Department. He will be discussing apps and social media websites, anything online that kids should not be dabbling with, and giving parents tips on how to protect their children. So join us next week. Thank you.